3, 2, 1. I'm Stephen Sylvester.
And I'm Todd Sylvester.
Welcome to Potter Familias, y'all. See, this is how we should introduce the show all the time. This is so much better.
With the y'all?
Well, yeah.
It's just because we're in Alabama?
Yes.
Have to, okay.
It's distinctive and
It
unique.
is.
I don't know. Hey, y'all. I don't talk about things.
You don't speak that way in real life, though.
I'm about to have to if I get a country music career.
Would you really? You don't necessarily have to.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can cheat the system a little bit.
Granted, I don't think you should have a British accent or anything weird like that.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Hello, I'm here to sing country and western songs.
Yes.
What?
Does anyone know the Fields of Barley?
Brilliant.
Like, that's my favorite. All right.
Now, you have to explain this topic because...
Oh, yeah. Okay. So...
I looked at it as the 3 things that I would want to buy on Amazon that I can't afford.
Oh, no. Okay. So I was thinking in terms of things that Amazon actually doesn't sell yet, but eventually they will. Or I think that they will.
Oh, okay.
So I was reading the other day that what's that car company? It's called like Carvana or something like that.
Yeah,
where,
Carvana.
Yeah, so they're a dealership where their whole model of business is that they will bring the car to you. So obviously it's a little bit higher priced, a little bit more bougie than a normal car dealership.
They claim that it's not because they cut out the salesperson.
And fair enough, but it seems to me, because of the advertising that they do and the type of clientele that they're trying to attract, that they are a little bit, like they're selling nicer cars than maybe that I would want to get. Now, granted, I mean, maybe minivans are on there, which is going to always be our next car for the next, like,
They
10
do
years
have
or
nice
so.
minivans. I've seen them.
Okay, fair enough. So their whole shtick is you can do the stuff that you've done forever, but online.
Right.
And
Which I think that's going to be everything eventually, huh?
But here's the thing. So what's stopping Amazon from eventually allowing you to just buy a car from them?
Nothing. Way back when. We're talking before you were born?
Mm-hmm.
Before you were born. So this is going to be 30 years ago. Honda was talking about building mini dealerships
Mm-hmm.
where they would have 4 vehicles at the dealership. And it was the 4 styles of cars that they sold at that time. So the Accord, the Civic, the Prelude, and there was I can't remember the 4th one.
Toyota.
No,
The Honda
there was
Toyota.
Stop it.
What?
But there was 4 vehicles that they were going to have there, and this was before they got into the minivan business and before they got the Ridgeline, the truck, and
Right.
CRV and all that kind of stuff. But even if they did their whole lineup, if they just had one version of each vehicle, and they would have the decked out version,
Mm-hmm.
with all the bells and whistles, you would go to the dealership, you would say, I want to try possibly the Accord, and you get in and you drive it and you're like, this is really nice. And they go, okay, well, this one, because it has the leather and it's got everything in here, costs this much. Oh, well, I can't afford that. All right, well, just in your mind, and you sit down maybe in front of a computer, this is what it would look like with just cloth seats. Okay, well, that's still reasonable. And you drove it, so you got the feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what it'd be like without power windows, which is almost impossible to get nowadays. But
Right.
okay, so you could minus out that stuff, and then they'd say, what color do you want? And they'd look at it, oh, I'm going to choose this color. Okay, do you want anything special with the wheels? And da-da-da. This is how much it costs. Here's financing, and in 2 weeks it'll be delivered.
Yeah.
They're going to build it for you.
So the idea isn't new, right? But I think that what's eventually going to happen is a company like Amazon, all they do is move stuff. And granted, I guess they have their Amazon branded stuff now, but before that, all they did was move stuff that people wanted, like sell it to them.
Right.
Right? It's just a warehouse company.
Right.
That's what they do. So it makes perfect sense that eventually, as people get more and more comfortable, which the pandemic sped this up too, as people get more and more comfortable buying things that typically you would say, I would never not buy that in person, buying that stuff online, Amazon could totally do that. They could totally do the same thing that Honda was talking about back in the day. And it really wouldn't require an incredible shift in what they already do. It would just mean that you have an Amazon, maybe the Amazon truck pulls up to your house and unloads a car.
Okay, so what are then 3 things that you wish Amazon sold already?
Cars,
right now?
obviously, because I think that's a definitive. Like, it's going to come.
And I will tell you, as someone that used to be a car salesman, that business model, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
No offense to car salespeople.
No,
because I know that a lot of them are like, what are you talking about? This is how I've made my living for decades.
I think you're right, but
it's just
the times are changing.
Because I even had a salesperson one time say to me, because I was working the price, I walked in and I said, I want you to order this vehicle. And they're like, oh, well, let's see if there's one out there. And I said, sir, there isn't one out there because I want this vehicle. And I had already printed out from online all of the things that I wanted. And it was a very weird setup. It was that first white Ford van that we had.
I remember.
And it had a diesel engine. Mm-hmm. And they just didn't make them that way. They didn't make the 15-passenger length with 12-passenger seating and a diesel engine. Mm-hmm. It was just a weird setup.
But it was exactly what you wanted.
But that's what I wanted. The guy's like, well, you were right. We couldn't find one in the United States. I'm like, well, no, duh.
Like, yeah, so I checked.
So then he goes, well, let's talk about the price. And I said, well, this is how much I want to pay. And he goes, oh, well, there's no way. And I said, sir, I've already done the research. Mm-hmm. I know that you can pay this.
Okay, all right. So because people do all this stuff, it makes sense that they'll do the car sales thing online. So I think that Amazon will eventually sell cars. That's my first one.
Okay, number one.
I also think that depending on what happens with the federal legality of this, that it's only a matter of time before Amazon starts selling marijuana.
Okay. And you want that to happen?
Not necessarily, but I think that it's only a matter of time. For something that I would want that's technically illegal right now, I think that, let's see. I wonder how, I'll bet that there are some like medical things that you'll be able to get from out of the country, like that get deregulated over time. Like I know that there's all this business that happens in South America and parts of Asia where you can get things that are sort of unregulated and don't obviously have the and I'm talking about medical stuff specifically. So
right.
like testing treatments and stuff on people. You can do that stuff in Mexico, South America, but you can't do that here in the U.S. I think that people will be able to get that stuff on Amazon eventually. And I'm not saying, again, that I want it necessarily, but I could see how somebody who's desperate might say, like, this is a last-ditch effort to cure this disease or whatever, and you can just get it online.
That's cool. There really wasn't anything, because like I said at the beginning of this episode, I thought you were talking about 3 things that Amazon already sells that I just can't buy because I can't afford it.
Well, what are 3 things that you thought of?
Well, the one thing is I really want eventually an electric car.
They sell electric cars?
Well, the ones that I guess it's Alibaba that sells some of these Chinese ones.
Yeah.
and they're pretty cheap.
Right.
But
like, I don't know if you want to drive that thing.
All right.
That sounds like really dangerous.
I want to get into more welding stuff. So there's a whole bunch of welding equipment that I would love.
Nice.
Covered gas. I want to be able to weld aluminum and stainless steel and set up a shop with a huge welding table.
Oh, yeah, that'd be killer.
And even do like some sculpting with it and things like that. So there's a bunch of tools and things that I would love to get. I just can't afford all that kind of stuff. And then I really want to set up eventually to be completely off-grid electric.
And a lot of that stuff you can buy on Amazon.
That's what I'm
already.
saying. So I would want an entire field of panels, of solar panels, because I want complete clean energy, like 100%. So, and then I'm going to want house batteries to have like 10 days worth of power in case there's a hurricane.
For sure.
Or really bad weather for a long period of time. Then I'd want enough juice
and
so that I can be off grid.
Battery technology is almost there. I was reading something the other day that battery tech is fast approaching this point where they say as soon as it reaches that point, then everything is going to get smaller and more efficient at an insane rate.
Well, it would be like the smartphone.
Mm-hmm. I think it's switching from, I guess, a battery that requires that alkaline liquid to solid state. And as soon as they can get solid states to be as efficient as an alkaline battery, then they can just make them so much smaller because they're way more efficient.
Isn't that wild?
It is.
Yeah. So that's super cool. But I'm just amazed at all the stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
Like
tech is wild.
And or even just the stuff that you can buy. Like for fun, sometimes I'll go on eBay and just do a search for the most weird, bizarre thing.
Yeah.
And I haven't stumped them yet. Like there's always something there. Not maybe exactly what I'm looking for, but oftentimes there's something really close.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to buy a boa constrictor that's 15 feet long, you can find it. It's pretty crazy.
I believe it.
Yeah.
The internet is crazy.
It is. It is. So leave in the comments any bizarre things that you'd want to order.
Yeah, so one of two things. One thing that you wish Amazon sold, or one thing that you know Amazon sells and you wish you could have, but you can't afford just yet.
Or maybe the weirdest thing that you ever did purchase online.
Yeah, we'd be curious to know any of that.
That'd be kind of cool. Thanks so much for listening to Pot of Familias.
Y'all are awesome.